Who was Seth Rich,
Seth,
and why are we concerned about his murder?
Seth Rich was the DNC staffer. I believe there's very strong evidence that Rich himself leaked the DNC emails about Hillary Clinton and others to WikiLeaks. And he was then murdered end of July in Washington, D.C. And the murder is extremely suspicious because it was the FBI counterintelligence unit was involved with the investigation. Why in the name of God does an FBI unit who's supposed to focus on foreigners carrying out activities in the United States get involved, which what the Democrats claim was just a robbery gone bad, just a domestic civil event. So Seth Rich died, and I believe it was in part to try to cover up information that he still had on his laptop.
So let's put aside all the litigation involving Fox and all the things that my friends and former colleagues and then colleagues said on Fox about it, and how that litigation ended with a settlement and how much money was involved. But who do you believe, either the actual human beings or the class of human beings, Ray, benefited from Seth Rich's murder and should be investigated as having caused it to happen?
Well, Judge, it all has to do with this legend about Russian hacking of the DNC. Now, we know all about how those charges arose from the likes of Jacob Sullivan and Hillary Clinton and Obama himself. Now, that's the legend. That set up the Russians and also set up Trump as a pawn of the Russians and excused Hillary for losing. That was rubbish, as the British would say. And if you have somebody who actually leaked these things from the DNC computers, well, that would put the lie to this whole thing, to this whole campaign to blacken Putin and the Russians. So what are you going to do? You're going to make an example of the person that you knew used to work for Bernie Sanders, was astonished and really upset at how the DNC did Sanders in so Hillary could win the nomination. And you get the same kind of people that you hire to assassinate Castro or maybe even JFK. Okay?
Is this unsolved murder still the subject of an investigation, whether by the DC police or by the counterintelligence unit of the FBI, Larry?
It should be. I have a slightly different take than Ray on this. One of the other events that was going on at the same time, it happened a month later after Seth's death, was the revelation that Imran Awan, a Pakistani intelligence, he was an asset of Pakistan's intelligence service, ISI, had actually been controlling both the DNC servers as well as the servers of several members of Congress. I personally believe that Pakistan's ISI would definitely have a clear motive for going after Seth Rich in July, fearing that he had information on his laptop that would expose Imran Awan without them realizing that Awan was already in the process of being exposed.
Wow.
So this was because to me, that's the only credible explanation that explains why you bring in the FBI, because the FBI had used Awan as an asset as well. They were tricked. They were fooled by Awan.
So the news peg on this is that yesterday, a federal judge, in response to a Freedom of Information Act request, finally ordered the FBI to prepare a Vaughn index. Without getting too deep into the weeds on this, it's basically a list of what is on Seth Rich's laptop that the FBI can't or won't release, and why they can't or won't release it. This is the first time that any judicial officer has ordered the FBI over their fierce resistance to begin to reveal what they have. Before you respond, Julian Assange himself, this is 2016. He doesn't look like this today. God have mercy on him. But Julian Assange himself was Seth Rich the leak to WikiLeaks?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources
but
are.
why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, that others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
He's dead. Why not admit that he was the source? I don't know what we're going to find out from the laptop, but this has never been ordered before, and it was over the fierce resistance of the FBI. Ray, what is your take?
Well, we know he was murdered. The question is who had the motive, who had the incentive, cui bono. I think the evidence shows that the people who subpoenaed me, for all records, here we are, all non-published documents and communications relating to claims that, one, the DNC was not hacked by the Russians in 2016, or two, that the DNC data was leaked and not hacked.
Who subpoenaed you? Not the feds.
The Democratic lawyers and a fellow named Aaron Rich, Seth's brother.